I'm absolutely fuming. This is the third time I'm doing this bloody video, and that's about an hour's worth because they're about 30 minutes long. And the last time, all you can hear for 23 minutes is Talk Sport through my mic, and I don't have a clue how it's happened because I barely listen to Talk Sport, and if I do, it's not through the laptop. So I don't know what's going on there because it could have been anything. Anything could have been playing through that, and I don't know how it's happened. So I'm just hoping it happening again. I'm absolutely bloody fuming about that. I'm there getting ready to edit, and all I can hear it's Talk Sport, and it's like, oh, shut up. I mean, I don't want to hear my voice, but I don't want to hear that. Not against Talksport, it's good stuff, but at the end of the day, I've got a video to do and it's taken me an hour, so here's to another hour and a half, and then 2 hours of editing. Anyway, welcome back to another video. It's Renner's Bantams here, talking to you as enthusiastic as ever for Bradford City return list from the 23-24 season. What a roller coaster it's been. I can't believe it's over, to be honest with you, and the return list is fastly approaching, but here's mine. We'll get straight in with the loans then. Only 3 loans this season for Bradford City, the 3 on your screen now, and I thought we had more, to be honest with you. I thought we had more than 3, but no, and even a couple of them already feel like permanents, but would you keep any of them on a permanent? We'll start off with John Tomkinson, who I do think a lot of people would love to keep as a permanent, but at the end of the day, it's not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. It looks like he's already said farewell to us, and I wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, he gets to play at the level where he deserves to play at, which is League One at the very least. I think Norwich would. I think he's at Norwich anyway next season. They're not going to let him go. His contract's not up, so it'll be a League One loan for him. They'll want to see him progress, and he's definitely capable of playing at that level. Really good on the ball, composed, brings it into a midfield. Loves a physical battle. He's got a good frame on him. I think he's 6'4", really good in the air. So he's got all the attributes you want and can easily play at League One. So I wish him the very best of luck in the future. Dan Oyegoke, I would retain Dan Oyegoke. It's one of those. There's a few controversial ones in here, and Oyegoke is definitely one of them. Again, you could release him. Ask me after the Harrogate game, I'd probably say yeah, release him. Forget it happened. We'll move on from it. He's not been our worst loan player ever, but he's probably up there. But after those 7 games that he's had, he didn't have a good game against Walsall, but he showed good qualities for a young player coming through at Brentford. Didn't get a good look in at MK Dons. Their fans didn't like him. Didn't get off to a good start at Bradford City. Didn't play well in right wing back. Went into midfield. Didn't have the best of spells there either. But then came in as a right centre back. Composed on the ball. Again, like Tomkinson, has all those attributes. Apart from in terms of his aerial ability, I think he shirks a header. I think he's a bit scared of that, so hopefully that's something he can develop with. He's a bit naive as well. I think that comes with his age, but then Tomkinson isn't as naive as him, and physical abilities aren't really there, and he don't really like a physical battle, which is concerning. But I feel like, especially under Alexander, it's something he can coach into him, and what he's already got is that quality on the ball, which we need, a pacey centre-back who can bring the ball into a midfield. So I think as a Poundland Tomkinson, it'd be a good addition on a 2-3 year contract on a permanent. So I won't be against it. I'd retain him. He's the better options, yes, but for a player we know what we're going to get as a backup who can play right centre-back, right wing-back and midfield, I think that would be a good, astute bit of business, to be honest, from the football club. Finally, Tariq Wright, for the last of the loans, I'd release him and I'd go over to the Lake District so he couldn't get through on the phone calls, and so his agent can't ring us, because I don't want him back at this football club, to be honest with you. First time under Mark Hughes, he was brilliant, complete different system, and it's just a shame that it hadn't worked out under Graham Alexander. Came in as a second striker to Andy Cook, didn't offer anything there. Played as a winger, his best game against Accrington where he scored 2 goals, but he had a shocking performance. Then moved into left wing back at times, don't look up for it defensively, and going forward gets into good areas and is wasteful. So overall he's been a shocking loan to bring back to the club. Probably cost us a fair bit in money as well, so I definitely won't be retaining Tariq Wright on a loan next season. So into who I'm going to release, who I'm going to retain from the players who are properly here. I'll get this part over and done with, and then we can move on to the proper salt and grit of the video of the proper players, the senior players. We'll get out the way Luke Hendry, who I'd definitely release. Great player in terms of the personality, character and work rate that you want from a Bradford City player. He's always going to put 110% in. I think he supports us. If not, he's got the family connections, and he's a player that the fan base always kind of like, but he don't want to be a backup next season. He needs football. He's getting towards the latter end of his career. let him go to a National League, let him play 30 to 46 games over there, and I wish him the best of luck in his future. Harvey Rowe, I wouldn't be retaining his contract, I'd be releasing him. I think he put out this morning a bit of a, I'm a free agent, so it looks like the club have released him anyway, which makes my job easier. But I haven't seen enough of him, and at his age, is he going to make it? Is there a pathway for him? I don't think he is. He needs football. I wish him the very best of luck in his career. Shame it hasn't worked out, but like I say, hopefully he can make a good career of it, because it's a short one, and there'll be loads of pros, loads of people all across the country, all across the age groups who get turned down this summer and say you're not good enough, we don't want you, there's better options out there. Like I say, no matter what age group you're in, and it's about kicking on from that and trying to prove them wrong, and hopefully he can prove us wrong and have a good career as a Bradford prospect and a Bradford academy product. But yeah, like I say, I wish him the best of luck. Dylan Yumbe, sticking with that trend, I'd release him as well. Again, I think he put out, somewhat along the lines again of thanks for the time, or next steps, or next step in the chapter, somewhat along the lines of that, and put a few clips out. And I thought this time last season he could be a good player, could go on to do something for City, but at the end of the day, he's had that loan at Farsley, didn't do an awful lot there. Then went to Scunthorpe at the back end of a career. I don't think their fans I don't think their fans had a lot good to say about him. Could barely get a start for them. I've heard a few things of an attitude problem. I'm not going to come on here saying all about that, even though I've just mentioned it, because I've never met the guy. I've never heard him. Never mind met him. Never seen any clips of him talking or anything like that. So I'm not going to talk about it just for a few rumours on social media, because I think that's wrong. I wish him the very best of luck in his career. If he has been terminated his contract by Bradford City, it's a shame it hasn't worked out. He's got some good qualities from what I've seen from a few of his goals. Bit of pace, bit tricky, agile on the ball, can go either way, has a decent strike on him. But obviously, it looks like his level might be National League North, which isn't good enough for us. So like I say, I wish him the best of luck. Heath Richardson, again, I'd release him. Seeing him in the pre-match warm-ups, not seen a lot of him in terms of a competitive match, but he don't fill me with much confidence. Maybe give him another year, see what he's got, but I don't think he's going to be good enough. You've got Hardy coming through, see how far he can push the first team members and see if he can get somewhere near the first team squad. He's a bit younger than him as well, looks like a bit of a bigger frame, so I hope he can really kick on and progress. But Richardson, again, I don't think he's really got to the potential where I thought he might have, so I'd probably move on from him. And again, wish him the best of luck in his career. And then Cousin Dawson, again, I'd release him, but he's someone who you probably forgot about, to be honest with you. I forgot he existed, along with Luke Hendry. He's been playing at Blythe Spartans this season in the middle of a back three. I think he's well up there for completed passes per night in terms of the National League North, and he seems to have had a good spell there. But at the end of the day, he's been relegated with them from the National League North. So if that's his level, National League, early 20s, what is he, 22? He's not at the level. He's not going to be good enough for us, unfortunately. Again, I wish him the best of luck in his career. It hasn't worked out. He came through as a young prospect, got a 3-year contract, looked like he could have broke into a first team. It hasn't been. It just hasn't gone that way for him, unfortunately. There has been a player in there. Hopefully he can have a good career. Brad Halliday, the easiest retain of the year, of the decade, of the century, to be honest with you. 6 awards in the end of season, player awards, claimed every single one he could have, contributed a lot going forward towards the back end of the season, but throughout the season being reliable, consistent, driving up and down that ring, getting good crossing into a box, getting into good areas. He's only improved under Graham Alexander as well in that wing back position. Defensively, nothing's ever really got past him. He's always committed 110%. The Ginger Cafu, he's been sensational this season. Give him a 3-year contract and let's see him back at Valley Parade next season. If we don't, then that is a disgrace. Bobby Pointon, sticking on a similar trend, retain. If we don't retain that boy, then there's something going wrong in the football club. It would be an absolute disgrace if Bobby Pointon does not start for Bradford City next season. I can't fathom that. He's an absolute magician. He's a freak of nature. For a young lad to come through who supports the club, who has come through the academy to play how he has, to play the games he has, to have the quality that he has as well, the goals he's been scoring, you've never seen the like. I definitely am. You know, the fan base, you know, you're probably going back to the 80s when we had a few, you know, your McCalls, your Jacksons, was Hendry, Bradford, I think it was Scottish, wasn't he? But anyway, you know, that sort of a era where you had a load of good young players coming through from the area and came through the academy. Because what he's doing, it's sensational, and the performances, he deserves to be here, and it's got to be a 3-4 year contract. You know, even if in next season it has to be a big figure, but we have to make sure we renew him. So yeah, it's the dead cert that he does get renewed, and if he don't, it's an absolute disgrace. Liam Rideout from one extreme to the other, release, get rid of that guy. He's about as useful as a calendar that only does weeks and not months. I mean, I don't know if you know what I'm on about, but we have a calendar at the minute, and it's the worst thing you've ever seen. It's pointless. You've got a calendar where you turn it over weekly instead of monthly. I mean, if I want to see what's happening on the 21st of May, I've got to turn it over 4 pages, and it's just effort, and it's pointless effort. You shouldn't have to do it, and I shouldn't have to watch Liam Rideout play every Saturday. He don't play every Saturday, but when he does, either part of the Mansfield game, the Notts County game, the Harrogate game, playing in a back three for those. When he's played as a left back, he hasn't played as bad because he don't get exposed as much by making those errors. He's brilliant at crossing, possibly one of the best crossers in the club, and he's a professional. He's, you know, I never question his commitment, but at the end of the day, he's just not at the level. He ain't got the pace. He's not good enough. Jamie Walker, I absolutely retain Jamie Walker for me. He's been important to every good one we've had in the season. He's been the key to Alexander's success at the football club, playing at number 10. The Christmas period before he got injured, you know, we didn't win until February, and that was a big part because Jamie Walker didn't play a single minute. We failed to find a formula to replace Jamie Walker. His tenacity, his intelligence off the ball to pick up space and to have that movement, his partnership with Andy Cooks and the partnerships he's forming with Pointon and Kavanagh are going to be essential next season. But for me, the only reason he gets his injuries, and I think that's why a lot of people wouldn't want to keep him, is because of his commitment, his effort levels, his tenacity, and his all action. He's battling away in midfield, he's winning fouls. He's 31 in June, by the way. So yeah, I'd only give him a year. I'd extend it. I'd give him that trigger extension and see where he goes there. Because injuries is that problem, but it's his commitment and his energy that gets him that. He wins fouls. He's going to get tackled and fouled. So that's the concern with him, because of his commitment, but he's so important. But I think you've got to look past that. But when he's fit, if he can play 30 games in a season, you're going to win a good part of those because of him. And he's contributed the most amount of goals and assists in his time at Bradford City. This is his home, and we need him to stay here next season, and it'd be a massive renewal. Harry Chapman, I've tossed and turned a bit on this one. I'd release Harry Chapman. I just don't think he's good enough for Alexander. Not at the level. I think at the level he can go to a team. I'm trying to think of a club, but if he finds the right manager, the right system, the right team, if he can find the right consistency in terms of getting confidence and performances and match selections, he could get easily 10 and 10. Somewhere around that anyway. It's just that he just hasn't had that consistent one in the team, and under Alexander, he doesn't suit his system. I don't see him as a 10, and I certainly don't see him as a Kavanagh position either. He doesn't have the physicality, he can't hold the ball up. That Wrexham game is a prime example of why he won't suit Alexander's system. So I think it makes sense for both parties to release Harry Chapman. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. He's a quality player, but he just isn't in the right team. Matty Platt, possibly one of my favourite players. I'd definitely retain him. I think I'd be a fool not to. I think we'd be a fool not to. The only problem is it in our favour. Everyone else, apart from Harry Chapman and Matty Platt, it's in our favour that we have a trigger extension. It isn't with Platty, and that's why I'm concerned about him. He can easily play at League One level. He's consistent, he's reliable, he loves a physical battle with his strikers, really good aerially. He's contributed to set pieces recently as well. He barely puts a foot wrong. His distribution of balls not great, but that's why he's so important to Alexander's system, because it doesn't require that. But he's great at switching passes as well. He loves his diagonals, and that's important to the way we play as well. So I think he'd be so hard to replace. I don't think we could replace him. There's so many players who you can replace, but just his presence, his confidence that he gives everyone, and you're comfortable when you're watching him. Not passing out from the back, but when a ball goes up towards him, you know he's going to win that header. And he's one of the best centre-backs we've had at the club in recent times. And, you know, the stats don't lie. 25 of his 29 full 90s we have not lost, and we haven't lost in his last 9 matches as well. That's an incredible record, and you know he's played a massive part to that back 5 that Alexander's built, and like I say, is absolutely crucial to us, and we must retain him at all costs. Sam Stubs, I would release Sam Stubs. I do rate him. I think you asked me last season, I'd say you'd be stupid to release Sam Stubs. I think he can play at League 1 level, and he probably still can. He's 25, 26 in November. You don't turn rubbish overnight, but the sad case is he has. You know, he started the season as a central centre-back in a back 3. I think that massively does not suit him. I think he's much better if he's playing in a back 3 to play on the left or the right side of a centre-back. But on the right side, I think we need someone who's really good on the ball and pacey. I don't think he's either of those. And on the left side, I'd prefer someone who's left-footed, and he ain't left-footed. So for that, I'd release him for that, because I think you can find better for him as well. So does he suit Alexander's system? I don't think he does. Can he be a good League 2 player? Can. Does he need first-team football? He does. So I think for everyone, again, very, very similar to the Chapman case, I think it makes sense for both parties to part ways, and yeah, hopefully we can improve on him. Though that's the thing, because it's easy saying get rid of your Chapmans, your Stubs, but then you've got to make sure you improve on them, otherwise you're weakening your squad that's fairly decent. You know, the decent players at this level. Richie Smallwood, finally, retain. I am retaining the captain, El Capitan. He's been unbelievable the last 7 games. He's carried us over the line in every single one of those games. I thought Grimsby was his worst game by far, but he scored the penalty to get the game level, stood up when it mattered, and that's what he's done. He's drove the standards of the team up. He's demanded of the players, and he's won nearly every tackle he's gone into. He doesn't shirk the challenge of being the captain, but he doesn't shirk a challenge on the pitch either. On a 1v1 tackle, he goes flying into them. Referees are very harsh on him. I think he gets so many yellows that are really good tackles that he times well. I think because of the name of Smallwood, he gets them given against him. His set pieces have been poor, but recently massively improved. I think that's down to Alexander, and I think it suits him, the system that he's playing in. He's forming good connections with the two in front of him, in Pointon and Walker, protecting them, and again, you know, carrying us over matches recently. There's the flip side where you can say his set pieces have been poor. He's not a great passer of the ball. He goes for Hollywood passer a lot of the time. He kills our tempo. I think that was more the case under Hughes, to be fair to him. You know, you can also say, look at the Morecambe game. Look at one of the games where we couldn't buy a win, that Mansfield game, the Harrogate game, the Notts County game. When the chips are down, it's normal when Smallwood's down, and he should be driving those players on. And sometimes he shouts at players when he's not having a good performance himself, which I can't get on board with. So absolutely he's had poor games. Even last season under Mark Hughes, 22-23 season, you know, there were times where he ran down the tunnel and didn't wave the fans off, which a lot of fans didn't sit well with. So there's been a lot of examples where he's been poor, but I think in the best part of the last 7 games especially, he's carried us over the line. He's shown his experience and his leadership skills that are very hard to replace. It's just the fact that he's not consistent with it, and I'd definitely be looking at bringing in a player to compete with him, you know, so they can split it to about 23 games next season for the pair of them, but an understudy to him. But it'd be very hard to replace Richie Smallwood when he's playing like he has those last 7 games. So that's why I'd retain him, but I understand why a lot of people would release him. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on everything we've discussed today, but mainly Richie Smallwood. Well, let me know who you'd retain, let me know who you'd release in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on last season. Sorry about the Newport game, not getting that match reaction out. I've had flu recently, you know, so I did record it, but I'm blowing my nose every 5 seconds, so that's no good to anyone. And on the 6 things we learnt, I did on Sunday, you can see tears rolling down my eyes, and it won't because we didn't get in the playoffs, although I nearly did. But it wants to be the season, it won't what we hope for. Hopefully we get recruitment right next season like we didn't last season, and it starts with this return list. So let me know yours in the comments down below. Let me know what you expect from the summer. I'll do my reaction to the return list when it comes out in the next coming days. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. The support this season's been unbelievable. You know, it's been absolutely staggering. You know, some of the comments, it's great. So I massively appreciate that. The subscribers we've gained over the last couple of months, again, unbelievable from where they were. Can we get to 400 subscribers before the start of next season? Again, all the support is massively appreciated. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new. Have a good one.